All right, everybody, welcome to the Sunday night ritual, our team call that Kevin and Peyton host, and we have a rare occasion for you. We are actually in the same place at the same time on the same night, and we got a couple of in-house, in-audience observers with us. But anyway, super excited to just do a quick call with you. And there was a topic tonight specifically that we were thinking about. We're recapping everything that has happened so far, everything that we've done, everything that we are going to do, and thinking about, what is the lesson that is being asked of us, right, for each and every one of us. And ultimately, it is the function of patience and how can patience show up. So I heard this one time and it was really, really profound. It said that most people have their urgency and their patience backwards in their life. Most people live with short-term patience and long-term urgency. But if you switch it around, that's what the greats do to create great things. They have short-term urgency, getting things done today, controlling what they can control, and patience for the long term. So the ask is basically to turn the micro into the macro and vice versa. And if you do that, then you put yourself into a position where amazing things can happen. Because of course, what we already know from these calls that we've discussed, and also just from observing people all over the world, is that the vast majority of people aren't going to get it right. The vast majority of people aren't going to live healthy, aren't going to live wealthy, aren't going to get free. And so what we have to simply do is we have to observe the masses and do the opposite. And so what we're really talking about tonight is that patience process and where you need to apply it so that you can get perpetual results that are going to be fantastic. So Kevin, go with that.
Oh, I love it. Thanks, Peyton. Patience is such a thing. You get into a business like this and you start make a list and call all these people and make a big splash in the beginning. You're excited and you talk to all these people, then the excitement wears off. You've been taking the product for a few months, and then some people product will start to collect at their house because they stop sharing it with people, or they're not how would you say, prospecting as much in the patience aspect. It's I see this thing in a 5-year time frame. I see this thing in a 10-year time frame. Peyton's gonna talk about something here in a sec that's really, really profound. I don't want to talk about what he's talking about, but what I would say to this is, how many times do you go and try to micromanage and do all these things and have these expectations, and then when you stop and you pause, the gestation occurs. It's like when I'm cooking something, there's a recipe and I got to put all the different ingredients together and stir it and mix it, and there's a process to it. And once I do all the things, I get it all together, there's that element of sticking it in the oven. If you plant a seed in the garden, you don't dig it up to look at if it rooted, if it's growing. You just wait until it grows and you keep watering it in faith. And so this is the aspect that in a business like this, people will be in this for 3 months and they quit. People quit on everything. People quit marriages, people quit jobs, people quit teams, people quit on their kids, people quit on life. So it's it's logical to assume that a lot of people will quit on something like this, where it's more intangible. It's like they plant the seeds, they water it, and then they stop watering it. They're see, it didn't work. And it's there's an element of patience and long perspective. But when I stop and I think, oh man, I should be here, I should be there, I should be doing this, I should. And the moment I stop shooting on myself, because in the last couple of weeks, it was the 4th of July. We were busy. We were doing a little bit of travel. We were doing a little bit of play, and work has been busy. I stopped focusing on my greens business, but everywhere I go, I still share sticks and have conversation, but I'm less pushy and less chasey because I'm just so busy and I'm behind. And it's crazy. This week, last week, the week before, I have had a new person sign up in the business that had a strong sphere of influence that almost seemed like they were chasing me. It's funny that the moment I stopped pushing and I stopped chasing and I stepped into patience and still doing the same correct action steps, all of a sudden people are coming to me. And you see that in this aspect in life where it's there's an element of gestation. And how many of us are oh, this, and this? It's like opening the oven every 2 seconds on a pizza. It's going to take 15 minutes to cook and the cheese to melt. Why is it not like that in this? And so it's funny because it's are we selling greens? Are we recruiting and signing a bunch of people up to sell greens? Are we just buying greens to consume them and getting our friends to do that? Are we getting customers? What is it? And Peyton said something so profound 10 minutes ago. So I'm going to have him start talking about that.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think about. I'm a really big believer that if you want to succeed, you have to know the game you're in. And so it's one of the key things Tony Robbins always talks about is that if you don't know the game you're in, a great example of that is in Pirates of the Caribbean when Johnny Depp basically cheats and everybody's like, hey, you cheated. And he looks and he goes, pirate. You know, it's like, you got to know that you're up against pirates in that particular movie. But the game that you're in when you're building a business like this, that's so different than anything else that you ever tried to do, is that virtually every career path, every business that exists today, it typically is like, oh, I'm going to become a general contractor. Oh, I'm going to go into real estate sales, right? Oh, I'm going to go into the healthcare industry or whatever. And what all of those businesses have in common is that there is a flow of business. There's an amount of commerce. There's an amount of money that is already moving around, and you simply go in and you're a participant to it. So it could be a service, it could be a skill, you know, it could be a trade, whatever, but you basically just get in that river of business. In this world of creating something, you are literally making a market. You are taking a concept both for your particular business, this particular company, and this particular product, and you are literally spearheading that out into the market. And if you develop a little market, you get paid a little bit of money. If you develop a great, big, huge market, you get paid a ton of money for it. Now, what's so important about that is that the way that our brains work is that if we get our first job, for example, you go to work and you wonder to yourself, when am I going to get paid? And your parents say, well, when does the pay period end, right? And so you wind up, going probably till the following Friday, and then the pay period ends, and it's the total amount of hours. And then usually most companies pay the following Monday or the following Friday, right? So it's 3 weeks to get to your first check, and your first check is for the total amount of all that you worked. But here's the catch, is that check is always going to only be for that much, because you've already worked the total amount that you can work to generate the money for the thing, versus making a market. And when you make a market, it's like building a sculpture, right? It's like building a masterpiece. I saw something in a fitness group that I'm a part of today that was fantastic. This gentleman had a remarkable world-class transformation. He had completely changed his entire body before and after. We've all seen him. But what was so powerful about this is that he said, this is my 4-year journey. 4-year journey. And we've all seen, pictures like this that somebody did in 60 days or 90 days or 120 days, or at least they said that they did. And what I got to thinking about is that I thought, well, that person decided to change his life, to change his physique, to change his body, to change his habits, to change his lifestyle. It didn't matter whether it happened in 3, 6, 9, 12 months. It happened in 4 years. And he even addressed that. He said, look, for some people, great transformations like this happen in a year. For me, it didn't. He's like, but I was never worried about it. I never tried to rush the process. I just knew that if I did the right things on a daily and weekly basis, that eventually I would get where I would go. And he goes, and the best part is that the way that I live today is exactly how I'll be living a year from now, is exactly how I was living a year ago. And so there's no destination. I think that's super important, because oftentimes when we are getting impatient, we start thinking to ourselves, well, I should be getting this amount. And it's like, if there was a guarantee that your business is going to pay for everything that you have on your vision board, there was a guarantee that it was going to fund everything that you've already imagined, but you had to make an agreement that you weren't going to question whether that was going to happen. And the only caveat was that you didn't know when. It could be 1 year or it could be 4 years. How would that make you feel? How would you approach it? Because the truth is that what if you have that $1 million per year business, or what if you have that $100,000 per year business? Are you suddenly just not going to do what you did to create it? No, just like the fitness person, you're going to be living a new type of lifestyle, because he's not going to stop working out. He's not going to go back to his old ways of eating terrible inflammatory food. It's like, the goal here is to create something that can give us a new and better type of life that we've dreamed of already. So the message tonight is to be patient. And if you want to wrap it up with anything else.
It's like going back to the analogy. So many people that join a company like this, an opportunity like this, don't understand the fundamental aspect of like creating a market. So I'll go back to the analogy of planting seeds. You till the garden, you put the seeds in, you check on it a bunch of times, like it's not working, must be the soil. And so you go find, you have this whole plot there, and you've completely destroyed the seeds that you just planted, and you quit watering them, so there's no hope that that's going to happen, and immediately go to another like plot of soil, and then another plot of soil, and keep repeating that pattern over and over again. And it's like the people who jump to another opportunity, it's like, dude, if you just stayed the course, you're flat, the plant would grow. You keep watering it, you keep doing it, it would grow. And ultimately the last thing to happen in that process is for it to bear fruit. The roots take such a long time. and then the stems and the actual plant matter itself. And it's like 80 or 90 days in a season to do that. And you look at something like this, it's about 3 years. And Peyton said something really profound earlier, where he's like, most of the people that make the big money in this, they don't really start seeing that until the 3rd year. And it's like Dan Putnam said, at 3 years, there would be profit sharing. And so many of the people that joined us a little over a year ago have already started multiple plots of soil that they're checking the seeds over and over. And eventually they'll be like, gardening doesn't work. It's a scam. That doesn't work. And it's like, why? Because you're a quitter. Most people are going to quit. A lot of the people that are watching this right now may quit on something, but I'd ask you not to quit on your dreams. This is a vehicle that can help you get those dreams. The message is patience. So be patient, have a longer perspective. Remember, there's a gestation period. And thank you guys for being on tonight.
That's it.
That's it.